Hi there, I'm Clifford Bates, and just welcome once again to our basically doing political science, basic political science research, political science methods. I've been spending our time looking at Stephen Van Ever's A Guide for Methods for the Students of Political Science. We're looking at chapter one. Today we're looking at how theories can be made, which continued us from the concept of this. Now, let's get right to it. How can theories be made? There is no generally accepted recipe for making theories, right? In fact, this is an arguing for the impossibility of recipe is Hempel, right? Also Friedman, constructing hypothesis, a creative art of inspiration, intuition, invention. The process must be discussed in psychological, not logical categories. Studies in autobiographies, biographies, not treatises on scientific method, and prompted by maxims and example, not syllogisms or theorems. On the subject of theory making, see Shavely's craft. I think that's Shavely's craft of analytical research, where Shavely notes the possibility of creating theories by induction, deduction, and borrowing theories from other fields. Right? Induction, deduction. Induction means from below, deduction from principles on high, and from other fields. These are the classic things. One of the things I might do is do a video on rule books for argument, which is a different art. It's a basic book by Weston about how we make arguments and through the induction and deduction. So again, what he's saying here is that there's many ways of doing this, and he's trying to explain that in the sense that this continues, right? There's no one way to make this. Some people argue the processing, like psychologically, some infer, and things looking at things below and infer them upwards. Others look at from ideas and then defer. What is it? Get that line word. Deduction. Yeah, I forgot that word. Deduction, and then last by other bringing things from other things. And that's also inferring or deducing them from other disciplines, right? So he says some scholars use deduction, inferring explanations from more general, already established causal laws. So therefore, you can take something up here, and then there's just deduction, right? From inferring explanations from more general, already established causal laws. Thus, much economic theory is deduced from the assumptions that people seek and maximize their personal economic utility. Right. This is that general theory is people maximize their general utility. Right, and then these other theories of economics are taken from that, deducted from that. Others make theories inductively. They look for relationships between phenomena. Right. Then they investigate to see if the discovered relationships are causal or not. They then ask of what more general causal law is this specific cause effect process an example of, right? So therefore, they work. There's two ways. You work downwards, taking a general theory and then applying it, and then looking at the world of phenomena, looking for causal relationships. Is this what is this thing something more general towards, right? For example, after observing the clashing efforts to gain secure borders helped cause the Arab-Israeli war, a theorist might suggest that competing for security causes war. Right. This is 21. From there, the theorist could move forward by returning to deductions. For instance, deducing that conditions that intensified competition for security, such as an advantage for the offensive on the battlefield, are also the cause of war. Right. So therefore, you go from this to a general idea, then it goes to that way. Right. He says. Um, Now, not 9 aids to theory making Bar mentioned. So he's 9 aids. These are 9 aids to theory making that I mentioned. The first 8 are inductive. The last is deductive. So the first 8 are inductive, and the last are deductive. These are the 9 things that how you make theory. 1. We can examine outlier conditions, outlier cases. That is, cases poorly explained by existing theories. Now, 22, such cases lie furthest from the regression line, expressing the relationship between dependent variable and its known causes. Hence, the term outlier. Right? These are the things that are in a regression analysis a line plotted out. They are the cases like this, outliers. They're not near the pattern of where the regression is. Right. Another term for exploring outliers cases is deviant case analysis. This is Lepard, right? This is his. Okay, I'm gonna do. So look at outlier cases. Unknown causes must explain their outcome. So, in other words, the outliers are because something is causing their outliers. We try to identify these causes by examining the case, right? Specifically, to make a new theory, we select cases where the phenomena we seek to explain is abundant, but its known causes are scarce or absent, right? Unknown causes must be at work. These causes will announce themselves as unusual characteristics of the case, as the phenomena that are associated with the dependent variable in that case. We nominate these phenomena as candidate cases. For example, India is a democracy with a low level of public literacy. Literacy is an established cause of democracy. Hence, India is an outlier case. Following fall from the regression expression relationship between degree of democracy, the dependent variable, and the levels of literacy, the independent variable. Exploring the India case will uncover causes of democracy that operate independently of literacy and in addition to it, right? We can call, call means get rid of or cut the views. We can call the view of people who experienced, we can gather or rely on the views of people who've experienced the case or know it well and nominate their explanations as candidate causes. So therefore, we go through and we look at. I think call that's a weird word. We can go review, look at the views of people who've experienced it. This is Delphi. This is what we would call Delphi. Going to people who know something about it. This is not testable. This is to create. We use this not to test something, data to test. We go there to come up to get an idea, nominate their explanations of candidates of causes. It doesn't tell us what the causes are, but it can give us a hint of what may be the cause, and then we can test it. We can then take that cause and see if there's a causal. Is there some effect there? Is this the thing that is causing that? I think it is. To infer a theory's antecedent conditions, the CV, right? We select cases where the dependent variables, the variables causes are abundant, but the dependent variable is scarce or absent, right? This suggests that unknown antecedent conditions are absent in the case. Study of the case may identify them. So, looking at this case, we look at it, we can then find, okay, why is these things are the antecedent here? Maybe they're missing. These antecedent conditions are, or it could be the opposite. That the general theory does not have it, as we've been ignoring an antecedent condition, and therefore we see something that is present here or absent here that causes the differ from that. That here it is present, in the other case it isn't present. Understand? So therefore, that is why something is different here. That identifying it. Okay. So that's one that is outliers. Two, the method of difference and method of agreement proposed by John Stuart Mill, 24. This is his famous logic. Can serve as aids to inductive theory making. So therefore, these ideas, the methods of difference and methods of agreement, can serve as aids to inductive theory making. In methods of difference, the analyst compares cases with similar background characteristics and different values on the study variable. That is, the variable whose cause or effects we seek to discover, looking for other differences between cases. Okay, looking for other differences. So therefore, we're paying attention to compare with similar background characteristics, yet different and different values on the study variable. And that is the variable whose causes or effects we seek to discover, right? Looking for differences between cases, how they differ, right? So we look for similar things and then see how they differ. That is the method, a method of difference, right? We nominate these other cross cases differences as possible causes for the study variable. If we seek to discover its causes, or its possible effects. If we seek its effects, right, causes or effects, right. We pick similar cases to reduce the number of candidate causes or effects that emerge. The more similar the cases, the fewer the candidates, making real causes and effects easier to spot. Right. This 25. An example of using paired methods of difference cases for theory making is Morris Fiora's Congress Keystone of Washington Establishment, right? Classic. Fiona sought to explain why marginal congressional districts, swing districts, where Democrats and Republicans compete in evenly congressional districts, were disappearing. To generate hypothesis, he compared two districts of highly similar in character but different in results. One district always had been and remained marginal. The other changed from marginal to non-marginal during the 1960s. He nominated the key cross-district difference that he observed greater congruent servicing by the congressional incumbent in the new non-marginal district as the possible cause of the general decline of marginality. The growth of government, he theorized, had created opportunities for incumbents to win voters' favor by performing constituent services, and this bolted incumbents who seized the opportunity. I also had an early social science adventure inferring a hypothesis by method of difference case comparison, although I was oblivious to J. Stuart Mill at the time. In 1969, I sought to explain why black political mobilization remained low in the rural Deep South even after the passage of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. I inferred an explanation, holding that economic coercion by whites was retarding blacks' mobilization, partly from Delphi methods, see note 27, but also from the method of difference comparison. I started by comparing two very similar black majority Mississippi counties. Holmes and Humphrey counties were virtually twins on all the socioeconomic dimensions except one. Blacks had one county-wide elections in Holmes, but lost badly in next door Humphrey. This spurred my research for the second difference between them, and it was easy to spot. Holmes had the Millstone Project, a community of black landowners who bought small farms through the New Deal in the Farm Security Administration in 1940. Humphrey had nothing similar. As a result, Holmes had far more black landowners than Humphrey's. The investigation process tracing revealed that these owners had played a key role in building Holmes County's black political organization. Further interviews suggested that fear of eviction among black tenant farmers deterred their political participation throughout Mississippi, and the Millstone farmers were emboldened to participate by their freedom from fear of eviction. A large N test using all the 29 black majority Mississippi counties then found a significant correlation between measures of black freedom from economic coercion and black political mobilization. This further corroborated the hypothesis that black coercion depressed black political mobilization in Mississippi's Black Belt, and suggested that such coercion might explain low levels of black mobilization across the rural South. The results of the studies were summarized by Lester Summon and Stephen Evera, Fear, Apathy, and Discrimination. Unfortunately, our article omits by my home county view and process trace data. Still wet behind the ears, I assumed that only large N tests were valid and never thought to present home counties as a case studies. Right, this is the new young student doing this, and therefore you didn't look at the case study. The state was a very good example of this. Right, so. Likewise, in methods of agreement, the analyst explores cases with different characteristics and similar values on the study variable, looking for other similarities between the cases and nominating these similarities as possible causes or effects of the variables. Right, 26. The method of difference is more efficient when the characteristics of available cases are quite homogeneous. That is, when most aspects of most cases are similar. The methods of agreement is preferred when the characteristic cases are heterogeneous. That is, when most aspects of the case are different. So when everything is similar, methods of difference are better. When everything is everything the same, methods of difference are better. When everything is different, methods of similarity is better. Right? That's his point here. 3. So, if 1 was outliers, 2 methods of differences, that's so very similar. Methods of difference, methods of agreements that we can find things that background information that does this, right? 3, we can select cases with extreme high or low values on the study variable and explore them for phenomena associated with it. So therefore, we're looking for cases on the study variable, cases where the things are very high or very low, right? And explore them phenomena associated things. In that case, those things, look for phenomena that are associated with that outcome, right? If values on the study variable are very high, if the SV phenomena is present in abundance, its causes and effects should also be present in unusual abundance, right? In other words, if this is in abundance, then the thing that causes it should be in every abundance. Standing out against the case background. If the values of the SV are low and the SV phenomena is clearly absent, its causes and effects should be conspicuous by their absence, right? That's a great line. So the things are conspicuous by their absence. So therefore, we get it, we study these things and look for, again, the term is extremely high or low case values. High or low values on the study variable we're looking at. So either we're studying whatever variable we're studying, we're looking at it, we're trying to find it, usually the independent or deep intermediate variables, we're looking for something of why it's not causing the effect we think it is, right? So maybe we're looking at that, right? 4, we can select cases with extreme case variance on the study variable and explore them for phenomena that convey with it. Now, convey is one of these words. It means that goes with it. Convey means it's happening at the same time with it. It's like it's not correlated, but it's kind of like it's occurring around the same time. It's in other words, we select for these extreme case variance, or an extreme within case variance, and a value of the study variable and explore the phenomena that convey with it. If the values of the study variable vary sharply, covary. Okay, now covary. Sorry. Yes, the print is all here. Covary means, I think, it deviates from it, separates, distinguishes that phenomena that. So if the value of the study variable vary sharply, the cause and effects should also vary sharply, should vary sharply, standing out against the more static background. So therefore, if these are kind of like if the variable varies sharply, its cause and effect should also vary sharply, standing out in the background of this. So extreme low, again, we should select cases with extreme within case variance in the value on the study variable and explore the phenomena for things that Covey, or that are kind of similar actions of this. 5. Counterfactual analysis that aids inductive theorizing. So the counterfactual. The analyst examines history, trying to predict how events would have unfolded if a few elements of the story had been changed, with a focus on varying conditions that seem important or manipulable. For instance, to explore the effect of military factors of the likelihood of war, one might ask, how would pre-1914 diplomacy have evolved if the leaders of Europe not believed that conquest were easy? Or to explore the importance of broad social and political factors in causing Nazi aggression. How might the 1930s have unfolded had Hitler died in 1932? The greater the impact of the positive change, the more important the analysis. So, counterfactual, how this could have happened, but doing this counterfactual analysis. In other words, counterfactual stuff can't be tested, but you can create a theory with it, right? When analysts discover counterfactual analysis, they find persuasive. They found theories they find persuasive, since all counterfactual predictions rest on theories. Without theories, the analysis could not predict how changed conditions would have changed events, right? If others doubt the analysis but cannot expose the fatal flaw in it, all the better, right? In other words, they doubt the analysis, but the theory may be new, hence real discovery. In other words, if they doubt it, people doubt it, but you can't find a fatal flaw in it, then it may be new, hence a real discovery. At this point, the analyst has only to frame the theory in a general manner so the predictions can be inferred from it and tested. The analyst should ask, what general causal law are the dynamic I assert examples of? The answer is a theory. In other words, I look at this thing, I do a causal thing, what general things? Counterfactual analysis helps us recognize theories, not make them. We recognize theories, not make. Theories uncovered by counterfactual analysis must exist in the theorist's subconscious before the analysis. Otherwise, the theorist would not have constructed the counterfactual scenarios. Most people believe in the theories more people believe in theories than they know. The harder point is bringing these theories to the surface and expressing them in general terms. Counterfactual analysis aids this process. So, therefore, it's a tool to discover, recover, not as to create new theories, but it's saying that there's a theory there. There is a working theory there so that we just don't realize it's in our back. We wouldn't have thought that was possible if we didn't have an understanding. This is kind of a very complex understanding of psychology here that's implied in here. The sixth point, theories can often be inferred from policy debates. So therefore, taking policy debates. Proponents of given policy frames, in other words, proponents of given policy frames specify cause-effect statements. If communism triumphs in Vietnam, it will triumph in Thailand, Malaysia, and elsewhere. That can be framed as a general theories. Communist victories are contagious. Communist victories are one state that rise. Communist victory in one state raises the odds, and communist victories in another. Or more generally, revolution is contagious. Revolution in one state raises the art of revolution in the other. Okay, this is the kind of general theory there, right? Communism, the revolutions are contagious. We can test these general theories. Such tests can in turn help resolve this policy debate. So we have a policy debate, we have a thing, we infer a theory to it to see whether that's the assumption, a theory that's implying the policy debate, whether the assumption that is the theory is being there is valid or not. We can test these general theories. As such tests can in turn help us resolve these debates. Right? Theories inferred from this fashion are sure to have policy relevance, and they merit close attention for this reason, so for the relevance of that stuff. Right? 7. The insights of actors or observers who experience events one seeks to explain can be mined or harvested for hypothesis. Those who experience a case often observe important unrecorded data that is unavailable to later investigators, right? Therefore, in other words, the data itself, but we noticed it, they notice it, right? Hence, they can suggest hypotheses that we could not infer from direct observation alone. Now, I used this technique, the Delphi method, to infer a hypothesis of why black political mobilization low in the deep rural South, the rural deep South, even after the passage of the 1965 Voter Act. At the time, in 1969, political scientists widely assumed that low black political mobilization stemmed from black political apathy. I thought the skill of local organizers might be key. Interviews, however, revealed that rural black community leaders doubted both theories. In other words, local leaders doubted. They insisted that fear of white coercion deterred black participation. And freedom from coercion helped explain pockets of black mobilization. Further investigation found substantial evidence to support their argument. The hypothesis also emerged from methods of difference and comparisons of two Mississippi counties, not 35. Right? So therefore, this is what he's doing. He's saying that, okay, I'm going to go interview. Now, this is Delphi methods. This is one of the methods. This is not a testing method. This is a how do I infer things? How to create things? How to infer or to create or generate ideas? Okay, so Delphi methods are what? You go to interviews with the people who are there, or looking at their diaries, their notes, and things. These are not facts. You can't go to these people and say, "Oh, these are facts." No, because their individual experience and can be subjective and not necessary. This diary does not. Okay, it's useful to get some information, but the real data is out there, out in the world, and this can be an idea. You can use diaries and things like this as ideas that generate ideas, but you can't use them as facts unless you're talking about the man himself, or that the person himself, or his work in that sense, or her work, or something like that. Okay, it doesn't the man or the woman's in there. The person in question who's record of this. In other words, if this is their notes about, if you're talking about the treaty or something else like that, no, it's only like, okay, this is useful information, but it's not generally going to be useful. It's not going to be an objective fact per se. It's going to be their perception of something, why this happened or why this. You have to look for. In other words, the real testing, that when you test a hypothesis or test a correlation of something, you need better data. You need data that's taken from the observation or taken from the record of things, that you can then use it from this. This is the difference, right? Delphi methods are not testable methods. We'll talk about this when we go to this. 8. Large N data sets can be explored for correlations between variables. So large data set, we have a big giant data set. We look for correlations, things that are of the variables, which set of variables, which comparison of variables have a large correlation. We nominate discovered correlations as possible cause and effect relationship. This method is seldom fruitful, however. In other words, this is what is, by the way, this is mostly a lot done in social science. We look at these things, but these things are are seldom fruitful. However, a new large N data set is usually hard to assemble. But if we rely on existing data sets, our purview is narrowed by the curiosities of previous researchers. We can only explore theories that use the variables that others have already chosen to code. So therefore, in other words, it's very difficult to create a large new data set. We have to use, therefore, that if we're using a data set, then we're kind of stuck with the variables and things that other people have coded, okay? And that limits us. That's why this is not fruitful. Is that the cost of creating large-scale data sets are there. And most people don't have the research money. The typical graduate student, the typical person is not going to be able to do this. This is why you don't use. This is why this is not that valuable in that sense, unless it's something that you notice that's like this, that you can. It's not. This is why it's not that fruitful. Last 9, and this is the deductive one. We can fashion theories by importing existing theories from one domain and adapting them to explain phenomena in another. Now, suggest techniques of crafts of political research. Shively's. Um, okay, this is the only deductive one, right? He says. Well, but this is taking in something in another area, different field, different social science, different science, and taking it and using the thing as a means of a theory. The students of misperception in international relations and students of mass political behavior have both borrowed theories from psychology. Students of military affairs have borrowed theories from the study organizations. Students of international citizens have borrowed theories, i.e., oligarchy theory, from economics. Right. Therefore, we borrow things from different sciences. And because my own background was a little bit of biology, evolution, evolutionary psychology, evolution. In other words, we put things of evolutionary biology to understand and aspects to understand social and political phenomena. Um, we bring these things in there, and this is how we do it. We import existing theories from one domain and adapt them to another phenomenon to explain. And as long as see if they help explain, does it offer as a mean to get us help us to better explain and better understand. Well, that's it. This gets us our second. This is our thing. We end. The, our next stuff will be looking at how do we test theories? How do we infer theories? How do we test antecedent hypotheses? And how do we, in other words, no, we basically, how do we test theories? How we infer them in that sense? How do we, make, do certain things about them? We look at theories of strong tests and weak tests. So therefore, like again, we look at the question of how theories can be tested, looking at the question of uh, um, uh, 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 yeah, how they can be tested, how we can do strong tests and weak tests, and then we'll talk about the next thing. I think that's the 40. So this is going to be 27 to 40. So that's going to be anything. Well, if you have any comments or questions, please put them below, and I will answer them when I see them. Um, if you have any questions about this and these things, um, I hope this helped explain and elaborate things. If you liked it, like it, share it with a friend, share it with someone else. If you've not liked it, okay, I understand you can say that, but why? Explain why in details. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe because it helps the channel grow a little bit. Another thing is uh, 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 you can follow me at. You want to follow me on social media? Links are below. You can follow my academic links there below. If you want to help me do what I do, you want to be a patron or on Patreon or Subscribestar. This is below. You can of course send me some money or by Google, PayPal or something like that. You can find my email and send it. Okay, I understand. Never begging. Okay. Um, Last but not least, you can buy one of my books. Some of you have already bought a book, but don't buy a book again. But maybe if you want to have a friend or a gift for somebody that so like it, my Aristotle, 2 Aristotle books, and all my Aristotle work. Most of my books in Aristotle. So, well, what does that do with this stuff? Okay, if you buy by Lulu, I'll get more bang for my buck in that sense. Otherwise, you can just be able on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and other places. Well, that's it. I think this will be the third video of the series of this. Um, I hope to get these done right off before I start anything else. Like I said, I'll be having in one of my Friday sessions. I will tell you what I'm doing. Okie dokie. Well, that's it. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye. See you soon. When we look again, we'll be looking at testing theories.